Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the team selection video for Game Week 10. I'm looking forward to this one. It's been a while since we've done a team selection video again, it feels like, because obviously we had the international break and then we had a midweek game, or not midweek, Monday game, Spurs playing. So we got to discuss that and go through and talk about that game because we didn't mention that on Sunday, obviously. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? Have you your week's going good and everything?
Yeah, but it's going good so far. Hopefully you guys having a nice week as well. And yeah, here we are with another team selection for Game Week 10 after wrapping up, obviously, Game Week 9 literally the other day on Monday night football. So yeah, it's a lot to obviously discuss in the end of Game Week 9 and obviously going forward into Game Week 10 with our teams going forward.
Yeah, let's recap Game Week 9. It was a big scoring week for both of us. A lot of high scores, I'm sure. And yeah, it was a good game week all in all, especially that Spurs game on Monday just boosted our scores up massively after Son and Maddison, etc., getting hauls. So let's start off with the goalkeeper. I did have Areola in goal, who got the 1 point after his 4-1 loss to, was it Villa, wasn't it? So yeah, 4-1 loss for West Ham. Moving along to the back three, a bit more success. I had Dan Burn, who did get a clean sheet in the 4-0 win against Palace. I also had Pedro Porro, as you guys can see, who did pick up a clean sheet in the 2-0 win for Spurs on Monday night. And luckily for me, I did go with the right fullback because it was unfortunate for Udogi owners because Udogi got subbed off, I think 55 minutes, so he didn't get the clean sheet. And having Porro obviously meant I got the 6 point now, so that was quite nice as a differential. Matty Cash did concede, however, in the 4-1 loss. Unfortunately, in the 4-1 win for Matty Cash against West Ham. He didn't pick up any returns, unfortunately, but I'm happy to hold him going into next week. Midfield 5, a lot of big scores here as well. Salah, let's start off with him. 16-pointer for his exploits against Everton in the 2-0 win in the Merseyside derby, which was nice. Salah converting a penalty and then a breakaway goal. And he also picked up the 3 bonus points, which was very, very nice. Unfortunately, I should have captained Salah. I was thinking about it before the deadline. I stuck it on Haaland. Slight regret about that, but we'll come on to Game Week 10 and my plans. I won't be making that one again. But yeah, Salah comes away with 16 points. Neto, on the other hand, does pick up an assist. But got a yellow card, so it ends up with 4 points. Diaby blanked in that game as well, which was frustrating in a game where they scored 4, but he's got Luton next, so I'm happy to hold. Maddison and Son, as we mentioned on Monday night, it was a great day for Maddison and Son owners, getting those returns. Let's start off with Maddison, as I said, 1 goal, clean sheet, and a one bonus. So lovely 9-pointer for Maddison owners, which was nice. Nice to see him get those returns. And then Son, who we know how good he is, how explosive he can be, and goal, assist, clean sheet point, and the 3 bonus points. So a lovely 14-pointer. And obviously, there was a few that captained him as well. So well done to you guys if you did captain Son. But yeah, 14 points, very nice. And then to complete the team up front, I did have Watkins, who got me 11 points, which was again lovely to see. He got the goal, got the assist, and I believe the 2 bonus points as well for that double-digit haul. And yeah, he's got good fixtures coming up as well. And Watkins is probably a must-own now in this game now with the way he's playing. And then finally, to complete the forward line, I've got Haaland for the 16-pointer. He did pick up 2 bonus points and obviously scored the 1 goal because he's my captain. Obviously, ends up with the 16 points. So again, it was a good game week, really. And on the bench, not much to really speak about. I had Archer, Gabriel, and Taylor, who all blanked as well. And that is how my team. That's how our team the points they got for Game Week 9, I should say. It was 87 points all out, and that is a pretty big green arrow by about 1 million jump in rank to 2.3k now. I think when I played my wild card in game week 8, my rank was 5 million. So I've halved my rank in 2 game weeks, which shows that how tightly packed we are. And I wouldn't still worry about ranks too much yet. And it was nice to see back-to-back green arrows after my wild card in game week 8, which I'm very happy about the way it's gone, and also the way I'm set up for the coming game week. So yeah, 87 all out for game week 9. Um, let's move on to your team then, Jordan, and talk us through how your game week 9 went. Also recap us and then your thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, so let's start off with Ariola. So he comes off with a blank, obviously in that 4-1 loss over Aston Villa. So only 1 point for Ariola during that game. Moving on to the defence. So Doggy, like we've spoken about, he did come off early, so he didn't get his clean sheet, even though Tottenham won 2-0, which was quite annoying for us Doggy owners that he missed out on literally 5 minutes before that clean sheet was confirmed. So yeah, a bit of frustration, but he only gets 1 point as well. Moving on to Luca Dean, same story as Ariola. Obviously, they both played each other, so they both cancel each other out. Aston Villa scored 4, and obviously West Ham scored 1. So no clean sheet for Luca Dean, and he comes away with 2 points. Finally, Trippier, he comes off with another double haul in that 4-0 win over Crystal Palace. So a nice double haul, bonus 2, clean sheet, and the assist from Trippier. Moving on to the midfield, so we've got Maddison and Son that we've spoken about. So Maddison gets his goal, clean sheet, and the bonus 1 point. And Son, he gets his 14 points for the goal, the 1 goal he scored, the assist, and the bonus 3 plus the clean sheet. So yeah, nice double return from the Spurs assets. Moving on to Bowen, he got his 8-pointer for scoring the only goal for West Ham. So he gets obviously 8 points. He did get a bonus 1 on top of that. So it was a nice return for Bowen in that game, despite the loss. And finally, we got Mbeumo, who was the clutch in my midfield, where he scored and got an assist with his bonus 3 points and clean sheet. So he comes away with a 14-pointer against Burnley. And moving up front, which returns galore again, got Julian Alvarez, who was my last second transfer in for Darwin Núñez, and it did pay off. Obviously, 9 points for Alvarez with a bonus 3, and he scored one of the goals for Man City in that 2-1 win. And followed by that, we got Watkins, who comes off his double haul of 11 points, getting an assist, scoring a goal, and getting his bonus 2 points in that 4-1 win over West Ham. And finally, we got Haaland, who gets his 16 points. Obviously, I captained him, so it's double points for him. But he scored a goal and got his bonus 2 points in that game against Brighton. And yeah, quickly on the bench, no returns on the bench. So Leno got blank. Andreas got 1 point. Bramthwaite got blank, no clean sheet for him. And Taylor, who also had a blank for his no clean sheet against Brentford. But all in all, apart from Udogie not getting his clean sheet, it has been a great game week to finish off. Obviously, I could have had my first 100 points in the game week if Udogie got his clean sheet, but it's still a nice, healthy score of 95 game week points, my highest so far this season, and a nice green arrow. So I've made it back into the top 100k again. So I'm climbing the ranks, trying to get back to where I was originally, which I think was in the top 10k. So yeah, it's a great end to game week 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice one, man. Breaking back into that top 100k. Hopefully, I can join you there in a couple of weeks, but we'll see how it goes.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on from game week 9. And obviously, this is the team selection for game week 10. So let's pull up our teams and how they look. So I'll quickly read you guys out my starting 11. So in goal, I do have Ariola. I'm deciding to play him. Obviously, Strakoshka's not gonna start. So Ariola's got Everton. I think this is a pretty decent fixture for Ariola. Everton, I've not really convinced me so far this season. I'm semi hoping he gets a clean sheet. I think he can, and I would back him to get one. So I'm happy to play with him. I think is a good game for him. Moving on to the back three, where it gets a bit more interesting, I guess. Gabriel, who has Sheffield at home again. I think Arsenal. I mean, this is surely a no banker sort of clean sheet. Sorry, a banker, I should say, where I'm expecting, a clean sheet from Arsenal here. I think that's fair to expect one. I think Sheffield are one of the worst teams in the league. No disrespect to them, and Arsenal are a pretty mean defense. So yeah, I'd expect Gabriel to get a clean sheet here, and hopefully that he locks in that 6-pointer for me.
I think the only thing that can stop Arsenal from getting a clean sheet in that game is if they score an own goal. Because I think it was similar to Fulham, where they scored an own goal against Sheffield United, which could have been a clean sheet when I played Leno. But yeah, I think that's the only case for Arsenal. If they score an own goal, that could be the only clean sheet wipe, I think, for that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's hope Arsenal can keep the clean sheet, because I think Gabriel is a decent pick anyway for this week. Then up, to complete the defense, sort of, I've got Cash as well, who's got Luton at home. Again, we've spoke about Aston Villa. Emery's, turned them around. They're playing great football. They're exciting to watch. Matty Cash obviously blanked last week. However, I still think, a great pick for this week when you've got Luton at home. Again, probably one of the easier fixtures, one of the teams to target, Luton. And the way the Villa are playing right now, I'd be confident in owning maybe even triple Villa like I have. So yeah, happy with Cash and happy to play him. Next up, to complete the back line, is Pedro Porro. Now, I'm not going to spend too long on Pedro Porro because I am going to transfer him out. He's part of my transfer plans, so we'll come on to that in a sec. He's got Palace away. It's not a bad fixture, don't get me wrong, but just with the way I want my team looking for the next couple of weeks, I am ready to sacrifice a Spurs defender, I think. Moving along to that midfield five, let's start off with the main man. That is Mo Salah. He's got Nottingham Forest at home. I think it's a good fixture for Salah and Liverpool. Nottingham Forest aren't the easiest teams. However, they do concede goals as well, as we've seen. I think they conceded 2 goals to Luton, I believe, as well, for us, didn't they? A couple of weeks back. So they do concede goals, and I'd back Mo Salah in that one. Liverpool are actually playing tonight against Toulouse in the Europa League, and Salah has been completely left out of the team. So he is rested, and he will have a full week's rest behind him before he plays Forest, which further, it makes it further attractive for me to hold Salah as a captain as well, which I'll come on to in a sec. But yeah, Salah definitely is in my team, is a no-brainer for me, and I'm happy to own him.
Yeah, I'm quite scared of Salah coming this game week. His ownership is rising scarily high. I think it's above 40% now and still going up. And it's going to be a worry for that game because Awani is actually out for at least a month for Nottingham Forest, and he was the go-to guy to really get Nottingham Forest going in games. But without him, it's pretty much no chance to lose when you're against Salah, I think, in that game. So yeah, I'm pretty wary of non-Salah owners as well, I think, for that.
And then up the next one up, as you see, is Neto. Now, Neto is a bit of a dilemma of my team now. You guys can help me out in the chat. I would appreciate that as well. So the choice is, do I play Neto, who has Newcastle, or do I play Dan Burn, who plays Wolves? Obviously, they play against each other. I've actually put Neto in the team right now, but that could easily switch back to Dan Burn, who has Wolves, obviously, as I mentioned. Because when I went on FPL.team and I was doing the team predicted points, I think I'm predicted more points when I've got Dan Burn in the side over a Neto. When I play Neto, the predicted points is lower, but something just tells me just to play the attacking player. So look, I'm playing Neto for now, but that could easily change as a switch for Dan Burn. But let me know in the chat, guys, who would you play? Would you play Neto or would you play Dan Burn? But yeah, I think it's a decent fixture for when I say decent, obviously Newcastle is a tough game, but Neto has proven this season where he's consistently returned in tough games as well against Liverpool, the likes of Man City, etc. And he is Wolves' main man, which I do like. He's kind of carrying that attack for Wolves, so which gives me some confidence about actually playing him, because if I know if Wolves are going to score, he's most likely going to be involved in it. So that's why I'm leaning towards him playing him. Next up, I do have Diaby again, who's got Luton at home. I think Diaby is a player that I'm not willing to sell. So Aston Villa as well are currently playing right now. I don't know what the score is, but they are playing in the Europa Conference, I believe. And Diaby's on the bench, so I'm hoping that's a good sign of that he's going to be rested. And Leon Bailey's started, so hopefully Diaby against Luton, it looks like a great game, great fixture at home. I can't take Diaby out before Luton, surely. So happy to own him. And Was a bit disappointed with him last game week. He didn't really, was he blanked? Maybe not playing as further forward as I'd like, but I'm going to give him the next 2 games and see how DRB does. If he doesn't do well against Luton, I could potentially switch him out for a Matoma, etc. But I'm happy to own DRB this week.
Just to touch on Aston Villa, they are actually winning 4-1 currently.
Okay.
So they're having a storm of a match. Only 70 minutes in, and it's 4-1 currently for them. So yeah, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy that I've got triple Villa going into that Luton game. So hopefully Diaby can return and he does start that one. And then finally, to complete the midfield, it is the double up on Spurs. Now, again, this might be a controversial move that I'm about to make. I'm actually going to sell one of these players, which is my planned transfer move. So Son, I'm just going to quickly touch on Son. I don't plan on selling Son. So Son is going to stay in my team regardless. I think he's one of the players that you'd want in your team. We know he's on penalties probably. We know that he's an explosive FPL asset. We know he's playing up front as well after Kane's left as a number 9. Since he's gone in that position, I believe he's got about 7 goals in 7 matches. So Son for me is definitely not going out of the team yet anyway. So happy to own him against Palace. I think he's just a must-have, I think, now in your FPL teams. On the other hand, it is Maddison. Now, I'm not saying Maddison's a bad pick. I actually wouldn't mind keeping Maddison for a few more weeks. It's just the other player that I'd want in my team. I just slightly prefer someone else, another midfielder. So Maddison is currently planned to come out my team, which obviously could backfire against Palace. But that's the risk I think I'm going to take this game week. But we'll come on to my transfer plans in a sec. Up front,
yeah, just to touch on that Maddison plan, would he be your player to fear this game week going forward if you are going to take him out? Because he is at 40% ownership almost. So when you take him out, are you hoping that obviously he does blank? And if so, does that obviously come into mind?
Yeah, look, definitely Maddison. I would be wary about him potentially getting a goal or assist against Palace because we've seen Maddison return in pretty much every game so far. Yeah, it does slightly worry me. But then so does other players. Like I don't have Trippier, for example, which I know is popular. There's certain players, that I don't have in my team. The likes of Bowen, another one that worries me, not owning Bowen. So there is a couple players, but yeah, Maddison's right up there for sure. And then up front, to complete the team, I've got Watkins against Luton. We've spoke about Watkins in depth. The guy's on fire. No stopping him really. I don't know if he scored tonight. He probably has.
He has scored tonight. I can confirm that. He's one of the goal scorers.
There you go, guys. Just bring Watkins in your team and keep him in there. For the next 3 fixtures, I think Watkins looks great. I'm actually not against selling Watkins actually in the future, in about 4 or 5 game weeks when the fixtures turn again. But for now, the next 3, they look great. And against Luton at home, he is even potentially captain worthy, in my opinion. So yeah, Watkins, great pick for this game week. To complete the team, I've got Haaland, who's got Manchester United away. Again, we know Haaland isn't having as many chances as he had last season. Yeah, expected goals is a lot lower for Man City as well. However, take nothing away from Haaland. He is still the top scorer of the Premier League, which might surprise a few. But yeah, he's got Man United. Man United have picked up a slight bit of form. They have won 3 games in a row. So maybe that's a little thing going against Haaland. But I still think the Man City will win quite comfortably. And Haaland is a talisman. And I still think Haaland will score against Man United, to be honest. So yeah, he's in there. But yeah, transfer plans. As you guys can see from my team, I don't have any money in the bank, so I have to downgrade pretty much some player to get another player in. Fortunately, I do have 2 free transfers that enables me to do the moves I want. So, as I mentioned earlier, Porro, I'm actually willing to let Porro go. I think Spurs' fixtures slightly turn in terms of difficulty in the coming weeks. Game week 11, they've got Chelsea. Game week 12, it's Wolves. Game week 13, it's Villa. Game week 14, it's Man City. 15, it's West Ham. 16, it's Newcastle. So I am actually willing to let go of one of the defenders for Spurs. And the player I'm looking to bring in, and obviously I've spoken about Madison, both the players. I'm looking to get rid of both my Spurs assets and keeping Son, because I think Son is the one I want to hold. And the two players I'm looking at is Tsimikas of Liverpool and Bukayo Saka of Arsenal. Now, those are the two planned moves. I think Alex actually guessed my moves before. So Madison and Porro out for Saka and Tsimikas. You'll be correct. Just to touch on why I've decided to make those moves. Now, looking at Tsimikas, Liverpool are playing, as I said, tonight, and he's not in the squad, in the starting 11, I should say. Liverpool are giving the debut to Chambers, a young left back. So Tsimikas 100% going to start against Forest. It's a home fixture. I liked what I saw from Tsimikas against Everton. He was taking corners for a player of 4.5 million, taking corners at Liverpool. It does excite me that he maybe can nick an assist that way. He does like to get forward. There is potential for him to get assists, maybe a clean sheet. Liverpool's defense has looked improved in recent weeks as well. And being a home fixture, I think Tsimikas, especially while Robertson is out, I want to take a punt on him and be a bit different. So I've decided I'm going to go Tsimikas. I'm pretty sure 85%, 90%, he's going to be coming into my team. And Madison to Saka is an interesting one, because I want to get your thoughts on this one as well before I kind of go into why I've done it. Do you think it's worth Madison to Saka this game week? Because I know you may have different views. I want to hear the opposite view.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good transfer in to bring Saka in. It's just the player you're transferring out is the worry. If it was me, because it would probably be someone. It'll be someone else different. But because you don't have enough money to do it, that's the only issue. Because only Madison really, apart from Son or Salah, and you want those two. So getting rid of out of those three choices, I'd say Madison's the optimal pick you can possibly go for. That's unfortunately the only way to do it. But again, Saka has got Sheffield United at home, and that is a fixture to target, because you do see a lot of goals, obviously, in that game, in an Arsenal win, especially at home at the Emirates. So yeah, I think Saka can definitely do well in that fixture.
Yeah, so the reason I brought Saka in, you kind of touched on it. Like, I don't think Madison's a bad pick at all. Like, he could easily get a goal or an assist against Palace. But Saka, on the other hand, I just think the fixture against Sheffield looks very nice. The only problem is Saka does have Newcastle in game week 11, which is a slight issue. But after that, again, the fixtures are quite nice. Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Luton. And I think Saka's one of those players. We know he's on penalties. He's Arsenal's main man in the sense of getting goals, I believe. I prefer him over Odegaard and Martinelli. I think with Martinelli, there's always that potential of Martinelli getting rotated out with Trossard. Odegaard his attacking numbers aren't as good. He's more of an assist maker. I'd like to say his numbers aren't as good as Saka's, his underlying data, I should say. So in that sense, I think Saka is the main man at Arsenal, and in terms of FPL that I like. So that's why he's coming to my team. I think longer term, I prefer Saka over Madison. And
he's sorry, carry on.
Sorry, you go.
I think he's a great captain pick as well, Saka, this week, as well as Watkins, obviously Salah and Haaland. I think Saka is another great example of a different captain pick you can go this week, because Sheffield United at home, high-scoring game, you can imagine, and most of it will be Arsenal, and I think a lot of involvement will be from Saka in that game, and you could potentially get a nice double haul, and a nice double haul with a captaincy over him would be very, very nice for the rank.
Well, coming on to captaincy, actually, we'll get your thoughts as well. I mean, I've actually got the captain's armband currently on Mo Salah. Now, again, Mo Salah, I do prefer him as my captain. I've weighed up all the options, and Liverpool at home, the way Liverpool are playing, the way Salah's playing, he's on penalties, as we know, which helps. So yeah, I'm on Salah pretty much. I'm pretty convinced I'm going to go with Salah. I'm 90%. There's still part of me could switch it out, but yeah, I think I'm going to go Salah this week and just go with my gut. See, last week I wish I went Salah against Everton. I went Haaland, but I still think Haaland's a good pick against United. But yeah, I'm going to go Salah for sure. And yeah, hopefully he can do me, get me some points in that sense. Hopefully it works out. But like you mentioned as well, Saka, Son, the Watkins, Haaland, there's options out there this week, and we can all compare which ones to go for. But I'm pretty set on Mo Salah as a captaincy. So just to recap what the plans are, is to take out Porro and Madison and bring in Simicast and Bukayo Saka. And that will leave me with 0.1 million in the bank. And I think my team is quite nicely set up for the coming weeks. But yeah, that's the plan, guys. On the bench, obviously, I've got Burn, who I could switch in for Neto. But I think I'm going to play Neto. But yeah, let's move on to your team. But just before we do, I'd like to say, guys, if you are watching, if you are enjoying the content, please do support us by hitting that like button and make sure you are also subscribed to our YouTube channel. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That would be lovely. So yeah, if you could get us there, like, subscribe, and share the video as well if you can. Moving along then to your team, talk us through how you're lining up for Game Week 10 and then also your transfer plans as well.
Okay, so yeah, here's how my Gameweek team looks like. So we'll start off with Areola, who obviously has Everton at home. So you can see a really nice fixture for West Ham to bounce back in after losing 4-1 to Aston Villa. So yeah, I can see a clean sheet for Areola in this game. Everton have struggled this season so far, and in terms of a home advantage for West Ham, I can see a nice clean sheet for Areola, and hopefully some save points on top of that. So I think Areola could have a really nice game week, number 10. Now moving on to the defenders. So there is a bit of a talking point for Udogie owners, because a lot of people are wondering why was he taken off, and it wasn't just because it was to be annoying. It was for a reason, because obviously Udogie was seen limping, obviously going off in that game, and reason being is he did feel muscle tightness in that match against Fulham. So obviously he will be assessed before the Crystal Palace game. The only unfortunate thing is, this is pretty weird, Spurs play on Friday, but were the last fixture in game week 9, which is only a 4-day gap between it. And I'm very surprised that Spurs are the first fixture on like Friday night football. So obviously that's a fast turnaround for Spurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Udogie's a wait and see, but that's the news we have so far on him. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he does play. Otherwise, we'll have to choose one of my bench players, which I don't really want to do. But we'll see. But moving on, next defender, that is Trippier, who has Wolves away. So Trippier has been on quite a lovely run of form. I think his last blank was really in Game Week 4. Since then, he's pretty much got a clean sheet or an attack and return up to now. So I think it's a nice fixture for Trippier. Whether I see a clean sheet, I'm split. I'm not sure if I see a clean sheet for Newcastle, because they are playing away, and their form away is not as great as it is at home for Newcastle. So I can potentially see not a clean sheet for Trippier, but it doesn't mean he can't get an attack and return, which he has done previously in matches where Newcastle have conceded, and Trippier has managed to get an assist. So yeah, I'm happily play Trippier whether he gets a clean sheet or an assist or neither, but hopefully he gets something out of that game, because it is still a great fixture for Newcastle. Moving on to the last defender, and that is Luca Dean, who has a really nice fixture against newly promoted team Luton at home. So again, yeah, this is purely why we wildcarded, obviously, in game week 8. Yeah,
Game week 8.
Week 8. When we wildcarded game week 8, to have these lovely fixtures for players like Luca Dean, where Aston Villa have long term, as we've spoken about, nice fixtures, and this is literally another one to add to their list. So yeah, Luton at home, nice fixture. I like Luca Dean in the previous game week. He did some nice attacking runs on the left hand side of the pitch, delivering balls into the box, and was quite involved in some parts in that match against West Ham. So I'm happily playing against Luton at home, and hopefully he can get a clean sheet, and on top of that, maybe an attack and return as well. But moving on to the midfield, so we've got the double Spurs in the midfield, Maddison and Son, who has Crystal Palace away. Now, Crystal Palace do come with a heavy loss against Newcastle in that 4-0 defeat. So I'm feeling really good to have double Spurs. I think Maddison and Son did prove themselves worthy of keeping, as a lot of us were obviously contemplating taking out some Spurs assets, as triple up does seem a bit overkill. But I think Spurs currently unbeaten still look pretty good. Even with triple, it may not be as overkill as we may think it may be. But yeah, I'm happily play them away. Crystal Palace, they seem to be struggling a lot, especially with injuries, and obviously losing Zaha as well in the team has affected them overall. And yeah, it should be a good game for Spurs. Moving on to the next player, and that is Bowen, who has Everton at home. So despite obviously West Ham losing 4-1 to Aston Villa, Bowen scored the only goal in that game, and he did have some moments to score a couple others. So I'm really happy to own again Bowen, who has Everton at home. I can see him potentially scoring again in that game. Nice fixture. Everton have only kept one clean sheet this season, which was against Bournemouth. So apart from that, they have conceded to every team that's played against so far in the season. And I can see West Ham obviously doing really well in that fixture, and hopefully Bowen gets on the score sheet. And finally, we have Mbeumo, who has Chelsea away. So Mbeumo comes off of his nice double haul, like we saw for my team, where he got 14 points for scoring the goal and the assist and getting the bonus free. Now he comes at a sort of a turning point for fixtures for Brentford, because obviously the fixtures do get more challenging now rather than easy, considering Burnley at home was pretty much the easy fixture they have, which was left for Brentford assets. But yeah, Chelsea away, it's going to be, I'd say, a much harder task than Burnley, especially the way Chelsea played against Arsenal. We saw a lot of improvement in that fixture, despite before Chelsea looked a bit leggy. But they have proven from that game that they can be obviously dangerous in terms of attack. And well, defense not likely, but attack for Chelsea has seen a bit more improvement. So Mbeumo is an interesting one in that one. Obviously, I have more to talk about him in my transfer plans because he is a part of it. But yeah, he has Chelsea away. Moving on to the front three, so we've got Watkins, who has Luton at home. So we've spoken about Watkins. He's scored tonight in the Conference League, so that means he's scored in 3 competitions now in a row. So in Premier League and now Conference League, and again what the other league is that he scored in. Oh yeah, sorry, international friendly.
Oh yeah, when he would play the friendly for England, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's on a run of goals, and yeah, he looks like he's on fire. And as we spoke about, he's a nice potential captaincy pick to go for at Luton at home. So yeah, I still see the run of Watkins goals continuing, obviously because his form has been outstanding so far underneath Emery. Moving on to the next player, and that is Haaland, who has the captaincy over him, who has Man United away. So it is the Manchester derby. So it's going to be a massive big game. Definitely going to watch that, see how it all unfolds. Could be very disastrous, or it could be very amazing how that game goes. But he is going to be my captain pick, I think, for Game Week 10, regardless. Hopefully it's a high scoring one, especially for Haaland. But obviously we have to see, because that could go one way or the other. I think it's not really clear on how that's going to go down, but whichever way, it should be epic. Moving on to the last player, and that is his teammate, and that is Julian Alvarez, who has also Man United away. So I think the double up on Man City so far has looked pretty good. Obviously, Alvarez scored as well as Haaland in the last game against Brighton. So I'm happily own both of them for this fixture, because if there are to be goals coming from Man City, I can most likely see it coming from either Haaland or Julian Alvarez, or if so, both. But yeah, happily to own obviously the both double Man City assets going forward into that game. And quickly on the bench, we've got Leno, who has Brighton away, Andreas, who also has Brighton away, Taylor, who has Bournemouth away, and Brantwaite, who has West Ham obviously away. So that is the team, how it looks like in Game Week 10. So we move on to the transfer plans. So I have one free transfer, and I have 2.3 million in the bank. So as I did mention, Mbeumo was the player I was considering obviously taking out of my team going forward. And the player I've been thinking to bring in is probably Saka. And this is probably an obvious move, because Saka has a really nice fixture, like we've spoken about, Sheffield United at home. You definitely want an Arsenal asset, especially the attacking one. And I think Saka fits the bill perfectly in regards to that. So the only worry is with this transfer is because I only have one. Udogi is obviously the worry, because he's currently flagged with, obviously he had muscle tightness, and it's not clear whether he'll play in that Crystal Palace away fixture on Friday, because they're Spurs do play in Friday night football. So if it turns out he isn't going to play, or obviously I have doubts, then I might have to put Taylor on in defence, which I don't really want to do.
Mm.
But he does have Bournemouth away, which might not be as bad as first thought. But we'll obviously have to see. I'm hoping Udogie is fit enough to start in that Crystal Palace away game. But if not, obviously Taylor will probably make an appearance in my defence. But apart from that, that is the transfer plans that I'm going with so far into game week 10. That leaves me with 0.4 million in the bank. So there's a little bit more cash to obviously splash. And yeah, that's one transfer. So I've got 0 going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's basically my transfer plans for game week 10.
Okay, interesting. Saka in. I thought we were spoken. I thought you're looking at potentially an Arsenal defender. So it's interesting. Obviously, Mbeumo coming out for Saka. Obviously, I'm looking at Saka as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's a good move.
It would be an Arsenal defender because I was going to go originally for Ben White, but because of the worry of not having an Arsenal attacker, especially a Sheffield United at home, that made me rethink my ideas of it might be a bad idea not having any Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. But yeah, let's take a few questions. Actually, there's a few coming that we've missed. We've not missed any. Like we're gonna read them out all. But let's just get some up on the screen. So Elika FC, evening boys. How are you guys doing? Yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah, good.
Hope you're well, mate. We've got Dan the man. Evening. Hope you're well. Yeah, hope you're well as well. Nice to see you guys in the chat. Elika also says we'll never forgive Ange for subbing Udogie. I mean, he was injured. It seems they don't want to take a risk with him. But yeah, I guess it was annoying for Udogie owners. Alex, Jordan, think Madison and Mbeumo to Martinelli and Matoma could be nice.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on Martinelli, if I'm honest, Alex, because after seeing him in obviously the last game, I don't know. There's something about Martinelli that I've not liked.
He scored in the Champions League in the 2-1 win, I think, against Sevilla. Scored a nice goal. But yeah, it's an interesting one as well. Saka v Martinelli v Odegaard.
Yeah, I just think Martinelli's great at making runs down the left hand side. The only thing is when he releases the ball, because he tends to hold on to it too long, and he either obviously passes it back or he loses it over a challenging opponent. So that's my only put off with Martinelli.
Mm-hmm. Krogsberg, 108 points this week, 19k overall rank. Yeah, look, wow, 100 point club, 19k as well, very nice. Dan also said good job, Jordan, very impressive.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
Alex also says, Haas, if you can afford it, Madison and Neto to Mitoma and Bowen. I don't believe I can afford that. I don't believe I can afford that move. So let me just. So was it Madison and Neto? Was it?
Yeah.
To Mitoma. I mean, maybe I can afford it. I think, or am I? No, I think I'm just off. I am 0.1 off. No, 0.2 off.
Yeah,
from doing that move.
Rise.
Yeah. I mean, that is a nice move as well, but again, that would leave me without Saka. There would be no way to get Saka into this team unless I sold someone like Son, and I'm not sure I'm willing to go without Saka in the coming weeks. I think Saka's a better pick longer term than a Mitoma and a Bowen, I believe. Vignesh with a comment: Udogie, Madison, and Ward-Prowse to Tsimikas, Saka, and Gordon or Adingra for -4. Yeah, that could work. I think Gordon.
Yeah.
I think obviously Tsimikas and Saka are two moves that I've planned to bring in, and then Gordon is a nice little enabler. Even though the fixtures are quite tough for Newcastle, I still think Gordon for that price, he's very good value for money for me still.
Yeah, I like the Gordon pick. He's cheap as well, so he's a nice. Even if you don't play him, he's a nice bench player for the tough fixtures.
Yeah, and plus I was going to look at Gordon as well for my Game Week 8 draft, but he was suspended, I think, for Game Week 9, so that's why I avoided him. Or I would have had him in my team probably ahead of Neto, but I think Neto's still a good pick. Dan the man, my team: Areola, Udogi, Cash, Trippier, Salah, Son, Madison, Diaby, Diaz, Watkins, Darwin. Bench is Onana, Burn, Zuma, Mubama. Got 2 free transfers, 2 million in the bank. What would you do? Plan is Madison and Son to Saka and Mitoma. Is that the plan?
Ooh,
I wouldn't get rid of Son personally. I would like to have at least one Spurs guy in there. But yeah, what would you do if you were Dan Jordan in his scenario?
It's very hard as well to consider a transfer for this game because the players you have.
I mean, he's
I
not
mean,
got Haaland.
No, you haven't. No Haaland team again. My thinking on this is Darwin. Now, this is probably crazy taking out Darwin because he most likely will start against Nottingham Forest at home. But I would be tempted to take Darwin out and bring in Nketiah.
Well, I didn't see that one coming. Nketiah.
Yeah, there's a reason being for that because with Jesus, he is currently flagged with a hamstring injury. He was substituted off against Sevilla. So automatically, that has given me the thought of going with Nketiah, who is a massive differential in regards to his ownership being literally just trying to get his
Probably
ownership
less than 1% in Nketiah's ownership. But yeah, it's an interesting shout. I mean, super differential.
Yeah, 4.9% ownership and 5.5 million as well. And he has Sheffield United at home. And it's one of those fixtures where you do see different goal scorers rather than the main ones that we normally do see. So Nketiah would be my differential pick that I would like to go for if I was to use one free transfer.
Yeah, also, the other thing is I wouldn't want to take Darwin out as well, but Darwin is actually starting tonight in the Europa League game for Liverpool, obviously, against Toulouse. So we'll have to see how Darwin does. If Darwin plays 90 minutes, that would slightly worry me. But I think Darwin will probably get an early sub, maybe come off after 60 minutes and then play against Forest. So yeah, I wouldn't want to sell Darwin personally. I think Darwin in the next couple of weeks fixtures are good. But on that same question of what I would do, if Jordan's gone left field with that Nketiah shout, which is nice. I think I'd probably do Udogi to someone like Simicast, potentially. I like Simicast coming up for the next fixtures. If you want to be, I think if you've not got Haaland, so I think Diaz potentially you may want to take out for someone like Bowen. But then again, Diaz is such a nice differential as well. I'm not sure I'd want to take him out. Your team looks different and it looks interesting, so I wouldn't want to do too much. Maybe have triple up on Liverpool with Simicast. But one thing you could be looking to do in the future is definitely someone like Bowen in, because I think with the money that you now have, especially with no Haaland, you should be able to afford a Bowen. I think Bowen could be a nice little pick going forward.
Yeah, I think for the second free transfer, I'll probably take Udogi out for Ben White. I just have a really good feeling about Ben White doing something for open play. He is slightly more attacking when it comes to a nice fixture where Arsenal probably play high and Sheffield United will play really deep in that game.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. A good shout because I see you don't have an Arsenal defender, and they might have some good. They do have some good fixes coming up. So maybe like a Ben White or Saliba. Or I think Saliba's out, isn't he? So obviously Gabriel is. I like Gabriel, so maybe an Arsenal defender. Dan. Pedro Porro, Madison, Darwin, Diaz. Who to start? Who to bench? With 2 free transfers and no Haaland team. Who should I bring in? I mean, Bowen's the one we've mentioned. If you somehow bring Bowen in, I think that is a good move to make, especially with Everton at home and the longer term as well. Fixtures aren't too bad. I'm a big fan of Bowen, and he's one actually that I'm probably most scared of not owning this week.
I'm proper flabbergasted, not just by the comment, but Krogsberg, you mentioned your 19k overall rank. You've got no Haaland.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
because
That's
is another thing actually I've seen. There's a team that is the current 257th ranked team in FPL has not made a single transfer all season, and he's had perma captain Salah. He's had Salah from captain from game week 1 to game week 9, not made a single transfer, and he's 257th in the world currently. So it's mad this season.
Yeah, it's unreal. Very unreal, but
yeah, obviously there are a few people that have gone without Haaland on a game week 8 wildcard. Obviously, it's paid off so far. Obviously, Haaland did blank against Arsenal and then got the 1 goal. If you didn't captain, I'm assuming you captained Salah or Son last week. So far, so good for the non-Haaland teams. But that could easily change with the Man United, and then I think is a Bournemouth after that for Haaland. Yeah, Bournemouth in game week 11, which is a nice fixture for him. So we have to see how it goes. But we know what Haaland is capable of. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We've just gone past 45 minutes on the stream. We are back again tomorrow. As you guys know, it is a Friday deadline. So don't forget, guys, we're back. I think just checking what time the actual deadline is. I think it's a 6:30 UK deadline. So yeah, we're back at 5:30 UK time for the deadline stream tomorrow. So make sure you do tune in for that. It should be a good one. Actually, just a question I think I missed. Could you do Mbeumo, Trippier, and Andreas to Salah, Tsimikas, and a 4.5 million for a -4? So Alex, some transfer thoughts for you.
Let me just quickly see if I can do that.
You probably could, but obviously it's a -4 as well, which I know you're against taking a -4.
Yeah, I'm against taking a -4, but captaining Salah would make up for it. But whether I could do it, yes, I can, Alex. But I don't think I would be willing to obviously do it. I'm still set on Haaland captain, even though it's boring. I know, but
yeah,
I do agree with Salah captain does seem to be worth it. But I think I've sailed that train of trying to get Salah in now because I did take him out for Son, and I think I have to stick with that. I think for now, until literally later on when I obviously plan, depending on how it goes long term, how it affects me not having Salah in my team.
Yeah, and also you've got Trippier as well, which a lot of us don't have. So maybe Trippier could do well for you because we've seen Trippier; he's not really blanked as well. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I want to say a massive thank you guys to watching this stream because obviously we'll put this video out for you guys, but we're back again on tomorrow, I should say. I forgot what day it was for some reason. Friday deadline. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you are, you're sharing the videos or if you can. It helps us out massively if you can. We're trying to grow the channel to 1,000 subs, and it's always appreciated when you guys support with the likes. So yeah, anything else you want to add, Jordan, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Take care. And if you're watching the football, enjoy. Until then, see you tomorrow.